let's get this thing rolling because I've prepared a lot of content.
Oh,
because there was so much that happened in those 2 weeks prior to my, race weekends that I had to just pack as much as I could into this because it's like, it's a lot of information. It's gotta be helpful to somebody else.
There's a lot of different topics.
Exactly. So that's kind of like how I broke things down right into the wrenching parts, the races, the crash, and each one of those, it goes into a lot of details and
what
things.
What am I looking at here? Turn 2 at Coda?
That's it. You got it.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Awesome. So thanks a lot, guys, for coming. As usual, for video's sake and whenever I get newcomers show up, I'm Claudio La Sala on the internet, YouTube, Instagram. I have a 3-lap rider channel where I keep my track photos, but most importantly the videos, like the Beyond the Track videos and my footage from the track, whichever track I'm riding. Been street riding since 1990, track riding since 2 years ago, racing barely got started, but that gets me up to 5,500 miles of track experience, which is, it keeps adding up.
I know.
Right? So when I look at like, okay, yeah, darn it, I just crashed, but then I look at like my track history, oh, that's actually pretty good, right? Like, okay, I'm proud, I have to look for those things to not feel down. Otherwise, like, dang it, I crashed. But like, no, it's, let's look at the bigger picture here, right? So that's kind of nice. As usual, big thanks to Improving, my employer, this company here, who allows us to use the training facilities, all this stuff that we're using here, get us the free food, free drinks, free parking. That's always very appreciated. Hard Photography, Blair, who takes photos of us at the track, and he offers us a discount code to get our pictures. Our BTT supporters on Patreon, and you guys, right, for showing up and helping me in keeping this thing going. All right, so first topic, right, wrenching. Remember bike maintenance. This has been a recurring topic over the last 2 or 3 months.
Oh yeah.
We keep going back to it because last year I was the main person coming out here and sharing stuff as I started this group, and I always made a point to say, look, I am not mechanically savvy. I am in for the ride, literally speaking, so I've been just focusing on the riding part of things, and I don't touch my bike. I just don't do anything because I don't like doing it, and I don't know what I don't know. I don't know how to do it, and that's something I know I'm gonna have to learn eventually, but last year was just not the time. I was busy on the riding aspect. Well, this year with more people stepping up and sharing how to do bike maintenance, at least start with the basic jobs, oil change, bleeding brakes and stuff like that. It's like, all right, with proper guidance I can learn those things and I can do it myself, right? And I am doing it, right? So little tip that we got from Jason, right, when he did the first Beyond the Track here on bike maintenance: do not mess with your bike the night before a race or track day. That's like rule number 1.
Say it again.
Right? Do not ever mess with your bike the night before a track day or a race day, period. If there's something that can go wrong, it will go wrong. So just don't touch it. And since I'm very cautious about doing any of that, I did mine 2 weeks before race weekend. When I start, okay, I want to do oil change and some other things, I'm going to do that 2 weeks before the thing. Because if I mess something up, I have the time to correct. Or so I thought, right? I almost had, but yeah, it's never that simple.
There's little things too, like don't put on a new chain and sprockets for a track day, because it's going to stretch initially,
right?
And it's going to stretch in your track day.
Right.
But
yeah,
as
the way I've been doing is, and you guys have been hearing me talk about this, I try to get ready for whatever it is that I'm going to be doing. So I was settled on, okay, I have a race weekend coming up. I want to do some maintenance on my bike. So let me define first, what is it that I'm going to be doing? What are the little jobs that I'm going to be doing? And what is it that I'm going to need to perform those jobs. So, you know, put out my tools, because I don't have like a nice garage with like benches and things, so I need to put out the tools and set it up in a way that I can actually have easy access to them. I write out checklists, right, for the things like, okay, what am I gonna do? What tools am I gonna need? What kind of parts, or, you know, oil or fluid or whatever. I write it down before I go out to the garage, because it's hot in there, right? I don't wanna have to think about those when I'm thinking about how can I stay cool out in the garage. So I put all of those in there. I have a place for my computer, because I know I'm gonna have to look up videos on how to do stuff. I know I'm gonna have to like text Michael or Jason or somebody, say, dude, I'm hosed, I don't know what to do here.
Oh, FaceTime, man. It's
right?
Like, what am I doing? FaceTime.
Yeah, look. Yeah, because when people ask me like, okay, where does that hose go into? Or where does it come from? Or what is the part? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Can I show you? Can I send a picture? Can we do something? Because I just don't. So I do my little setup. I have to go through that kind of ritual. I make some room, depending on what it is that I'm gonna be doing. I actually put up the pop-up canopy outside, so I have some shade
Get
and more
some air flowing through.
Yes.
Oh man.
Because man, when it's like 95 degrees outside, it's hard to be in the garage. And like for this stuff that I'm going to be talking about, it took me like an evening on Friday and pretty much all day on Saturday. So I was out of the house for like 14 hours in those 2 days when it was really hot.
Hydrate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and hydrating, I mean, I always tell everybody,
It's like a track
when you
day.
see me, I'm always carrying my little water bottle. I always drink a lot of water. And if I'm doing that kind of stuff, oh yeah, right? So get those things, right? Now, as part of my goals for 2019, I told myself, besides like improving lap times at certain tracks by a certain amount, and getting more practice, say like on passing skills and things like that, I've set myself the goal of, okay, I want to learn to do the simple jobs on my bike this year. It's something I want to do, right, deliberately this year, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that done, right? So for that weekend, I figured, you know what? I think I'm gonna get some new tires or some new takeoffs from Chris, right? That's been working out well. My previous tires, that's what they looked like. I got them as takeoffs from Chris. He had like maybe 2 practice sessions on them. They looked great. And then after over 700 miles that I've put on them, 9 track days, they still look like this. There's plenty of meat there, right? But I'm like, okay, there's a race weekend coming up. Can I do the Friday practice on those tires plus the races on Saturday and Sunday if I do both days? I'm like, I am not sure. You know what? I'll play it safe. I'm gonna yank those out and put some, new takeoffs on. So that was that. I said, okay, let me get some new tires. Also because that would make me exercise the whole swapping wheels, because that's something I had not done before. Taking the wheels off and then back on. It's like, okay, I don't know. And when I first heard about like Daytonas in specific, I heard somebody say, it's like the hardest bike to get the rear, wheel back on. So I had that in my mind. I'm like, okay, I need to practice that, and I need to do that at home. Because if I need to do that at the track, I will mess it up. I just know it. With all the pressure and stuff. So that was a reason for me also to do that. And also rain, right? So I had gotten some rain tires, also takeoffs, that had like 1 session from racers. I got one from Chris and one from another guy. So okay, let me just mount those on my wheels, have it all set, ready to rock, because there was a chance of rain for the race weekend. So I'm like, while I'm not looking forward to racing in the rain at this point, that weekend, I'm ready, right? If I want to go out there, I want to, at least make sure that I'm ready. So it was cool. It's like, in the garage, I actually managed to get the wheels off. That's, like, yay, a little, celebrate the small wins, right? It's like, yay, I got it. Cool, good. Now, as I was doing it, I
you got the tire wedge too there. You don't
did.
have the pit pull stand, but you got the tire wedge to get it off the ground.
I'm telling you, man.
Great tool, man.
Right?
Great
and it came
tool.
from BTT meetings, right? So Jason told us about the wedge, which I had no idea it existed. So I'm gonna get that thing. It's a pit pull. Right? And it does not work quite well with the Moto D stand because you cannot like
Yeah,
make
it can't
it.
hook on, but it'll still lift that tire
It's
off
perfect.
ground.
The way it is, I just put it flat there. It's just the proper height
Yeah.
to get the tire.
Get the
on.
axle in the right place.
Yes.
Oh my god.
That was lovely. That was just lovely. Right now, I did the rear tire just fine. I'm doing the front tire, and then I'm like, okay, I got the calipers off, and you know the pitch bolts, right? Got those, and then like, okay, there's the axle. How do I get that out of here? What kind of tool do I need for it, right? So then I go watch a video, and the guy shows, okay, you need this, and I'm like, oh, I don't have that tool.
Oh yeah, I've run into that before.
Oh, darn it. And then I remember I sent Jason a message. I said, okay, what is this tool? How do I get that? What's up? Oh, and then he sent me a link to an Amazon, version of that. I said, dang it. The catch was I was getting the wheels off because I was going to take it to the guy who was going to swap the tires, and he needed that the next day. So I needed that done at that moment when I was doing it, and I didn't have the tool. And then I asked Vanessa, hey, do you remember seeing a tool kind of like this someplace? And then she remembered that one of the bikes that we have, it came with a little toolkit.
Really?
And it had that. Exactly the one that I needed on the Daytona. Like,
So just a half-inch extension.
was
Yeah.
that? Yeah. Exactly. So, and then I ended up buying.
That's what
this
I have
one.
in my toolbox.
Right. Yeah. So Jason pointed me out to that one. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I ordered. I got it later.
For hex bolts?
Yep.
Yes.
They're
right. For specifically for
big 22,
bike
yeah.
axles, right?
Yep.
On axles. So you have like the main sizes
Huh.
Yeah.
that you need. I'm like, okay, I had no idea that
Yeah.
was something I would need. Right. I got all of the other tools, the wedge and everything, breaker bar, which I didn't have, the sockets. I got all of that.
Yeah.
But then I was missing that.
Yep. I had that exact problem. It's like, oh, I get to do this next week after Amazon finally.
Exactly.
Stupid little one piece. But
Yeah. So then I got the tires back, the wheels back, and I put it back on. It was actually easier than I thought because I heard from everybody, dude, do the front wheel first because it's easier, and then the rear wheel, get ready because it will be problematic.
You got a tire wedge. That is a huge benefit.
So-
huge.
Yeah, so and I put it, the helpful and the magical. The helpful was the wedge. That was very helpful. The magical was captive spacers.
Oh hell yes.
I had never heard of that. I didn't know that was a thing. I remember hearing people saying, pay attention to the spacers because they are different sizes, not interchangeable. They are problematic to like get it all lined up and blah, blah, blah. And when I took the wheel off, I saw the spacer, they didn't come off, and I'm like pulling, it's like,
Yeah.
what's happening? I don't know. I took it to the guy who was gonna make the swap and everything. I get the thing back, I line it up, I figure out, okay, the main thing for me was just the rear brake to get it in the sequence to
Yeah.
move things around. Once I got like, the first time, no, it's not like that. The second time, like, oh yeah, put the axle on, like, it cannot be that easy. Wait a minute. And then I looked up about spacers and heard about captive spacers. Like,
Yep.
that is magical.
Yep.
There are people who don't like it. I've noticed some people saying things about, oh, you don't want to use it because of this, that, or the other. I'm like,
Really?
at my level, this is exactly what I need.
That's a no-brainer.
So glad to have you.
Shiny red, it's gotta be good.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was good. So then I proceeded, to work on brakes, just do some cleaning that I got from Jason, just getting, since I had the calipers out anyways, just, do some cleaning, get all that nasty stuff out of it. I didn't get yet into the whole removing the brake pads because I said I don't want to mess with that and mess with the piston and stuff because it's the kind of stuff that it's very delicate and I'm very clumsy. It's very easy for me to mess it up. So I'm not going to go that deep into it. Not this time.
Yeah.
I'm like, this time I don't want to do that. I need to do that next time when I don't have like a race coming up and more time to recover from my mess ups.
My only suggestion there to
Yeah.
clean those brake calipers, if
Okay.
you want to borrow it and try it, I'll bring you my ultrasonic cleaner. It's like for jewelry. All you do is
Oh.
put this little water bath and just raise it up so the caliper is soaked in there and turn it on for about 10 minutes. It will get them spotless. And you don't even have to touch them. Just
Oh,
a
wow.
little simple green cleaner. The ultrasonic cleaner will get all that crap out of the pistons and everything else, like brand new.
So you don't even have to
Beautiful.
remove the brake pads? or
No,
something?
like it's hanging right there. You literally, like, you have your little bowl of fluid, raise it up so it's submerged in the liquid, turn on the ultrasonic cleaner, you'll hear it going zzzz.
How much does that thing cost? 'Cause
You can
that-
get it for about $80 on Amazon.
Dude, hook
and,
me up.
and it's just big enough to fit the caliper in.
Ah, man,
I
hook me
first
up.
bought one for cleaning pistols because
Yeah.
I hate cleaning guns, but
Does it come with a?
yeah,
Okay,
it works
this is
great.
Sweet. Because yeah, that leads me to the next point, like for doing, bleeding the brakes, right?
Mhm.
You just have the right tool. Like Jason showed me how to use the little vacuum stuff. It's like,
Mhm.
I can actually do that because I remember seeing my
And then
brother
you do it
doing-
more often, and your brakes are
Exactly.
in much better shape. And
So I did that. So I told, I
So-
texted Jason and I said, all right, I'm just done bleeding the brakes. Oh yeah, awesome, great. And then he asked, did you do that little one that's closer to the master cylinder? I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that one, right? Which is one of those that, as I was doing that, I started like writing what I was doing to like create a checklist for this kind of job. And since I didn't have the checklist for that, I missed that one. So guess what? I go back to my notes and like, don't forget that one.
yeah.
Oil filter change, that was just the second time that I was doing it on my own, And then my thought was, how can I mess this up? It's like, dude, you've done it once guided, once, on your own. How would I mess that up? So, you go normal procedure, get the stuff there, and then I need to, remove the filter, right? So I thought, well, the same way I put that filter there with that little, what's that called, a cap?
Yeah.
Oil filter wrench.
Yeah.
Filter wrench, right? That's why I'm gonna use the same tool to get it off. Well, I couldn't. For whatever reason, even though on the new filter, this guy would fit in very snug, perfect,
Mhm.
on the one on the bike, it was like,
No,
as
no.
if it was,
Yeah.
what I say,
Yeah, it has to
was
have the
wrong.
little flat surfaces on it
Yeah,
to
well, that-
engage. If it's just smooth.
dang it. And it felt like it was a little bit actually bigger. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's how you got there. And I put it like, with the proper torque settings and all that. Like, how did that happen? Already freaked out. I was like, my goodness. So I go to the, AutoZone or whatever, found out about this plier, said, okay, let me try that. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
It was not even like, like, perfect. That's all I needed. So another tool for the toolbox there. That was good. Crisis averted. Cleaning chain and lubing it. That was the only one thing that I've been doing all this time. When I first started with track days and stuff, that was the only one thing that I was doing on the bike. Right, just getting my little kerosene and then scrubbing off all that junk from the stuff and then just lubing it up with that thing that I've been doing all this time. No big deal. What I had not done was removing the sprocket cover and cleaning up the stuff down there, right? And Mike already know the end of the story, but you guys are gonna see why I'm making a point about that, because that plays a big role to what happens later. Right, so this time out, I'm like, okay, let's see what's under there. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that is disgusting.
Yeah, the first time you ever look under one of those, oh my lord.
Man, all that junk in there. All right, so got it off. Let's clean that up. In there it was not too bad, but still, let's clean that up. All good, perfect. Put it back there. Once I'm done with that, then I do all the safety wiring according to the CMRA requirements. So like this kind of stuff, and on the calipers, all those things, I put it all back on, make sure that's all good. So that was that. And then I said, okay, I've done all of that all day. I'm gonna throw in a little bonus. I'm gonna mess with my mini bike, right? And shifting on the mini bike, the one that I got, it is set to standard shift, and I wanted to set to GP shift. Well, let me mess with it, right? Now that I'm working on my bike, now I know everything, right? Stupid, don't do it. Just don't do it. I tried it. It didn't quite work for whatever reason. I tried like riding around the neighborhood. Something was off. It was just not working fine. I get frustrated. I put it back to what it was before. it doesn't feel like the way it used to be. So I'm
Totally.
like, it's like, it's not feeling the way it was before, man. Why was I messing with that? Right? I know
That's
that
how we learn. That's how we learn.
Yes, but it's like, was it the right time to do that?
Yeah.
I should have just like closed on a high note.
Yeah.
Like, no, just stop right there. No, I wanted to do that, yes. So, now why did I want, let me tell you a story. I remember why I've put that in there. When I got the Daytona, that was after 26 years of street riding on standard shift. So it's second nature shifting that way. When I got the Daytona, the first thing that I had to focus on was to learn GP shifts, right? Because your body, your mind want to do something else, not go, up, down, 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 down. So I spent like 2 or 3 track days focused only on that, like up, down, 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 up. Essentially figuring out, okay, when I'm like tucked in, I'm going down. That's what it feels like. When I go up on the braking zone, it's that, in my mind, that's how I've learned. If I'm like pulling my body like this because I'm going into the brake zone, I'm gonna be doing the same with the shifter. That's how I've memorized. Like, okay, if I'm going like this, I'm pulling everything up. And then it just became second nature. And then a lot of people said, well, now you have to change your street bikes because it's gonna mess you up. Actually, it didn't for me.
Really?
I've been
Yeah.
riding, a street bike to work and everything. It does not mess you up because of the riding style. I'm never tucked in.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
good
never
point,
attacking
yeah.
corner. I'm not going like, okay, this is the braking zone. No, I'm
Yeah.
just riding just fine. So it never messed me up. All good. And then I take the Mini to the track. It completely messes me up because I am in track mode.
Huh.
Right? So I kept like missing, the first time I went out, I kept like missing shifts and everything. And then that weekend I said, okay, let me try changing that because this can mess up with my mind, right? And I was concerned about that because we went out there the week before racing and I had that in my mind. I said, man, is that gonna mess me up? And at the track, you saw me. I was
making the
screwing it
same
up
mistakes
all
as
the
you. It's
time.
like, oh crap, I shifted the wrong way, and at least it's a
Completely.
2-stroke without a lot of engine braking.
Exactly, right? But so that's why I said, okay, let me give that a shot. I'm done with that. I get the Daytona. I, run the engine, and then I see the check engine light. I'm like, that was not there before. And then it's like, okay, Claudio, how did you mess that up? You did an oil change, you swapped wheels, right? You cleaned up the chain. How could you have messed that up? That was my frustration that day, right? So I talked to people, they said, well, to one guy I said, okay, this is what I did. He said, well, when you remove the sprocket cover, maybe those wires, maybe you've pinched the wire or something like that. Maybe it's something electrical. I said, oh yeah, okay. Tomorrow when I get back home from work, I'll check that out. I get back home from work next day. I don't move the bike out of the way into some place where I have more room to mess with it. So I get there and I squeeze behind the bike and I remove that cover again, and it doesn't look like anything is pinched. And then I go and I put the cover back, but I'm not in a comfortable position to do that. But it's back in there and the light is still there. It's like, okay, I'm gonna have to take it someplace.
What does that light mean?
Well, it means there's something wrong
with your engine.
with your engine,
Well, it
with
probably
the
means
bike.
like 4 or 5 things, right?
Yeah, it could be.
It can be a
any
number of things. And it's like, I've seen people riding bikes like that on the track with the engine light on, and it's like, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that
sometimes
it's reporting.
electronics. They disconnect the exhaust power valve or something like that, or put a power commander on the fuel injection
Right.
system, and the computer just goes, "Hey, something's different here,"
Yeah.
and
And
may
for
not
me,
be
the
an
way
issue.
I operate, I'm like, I have a race weekend coming up. I don't want to see any of that crap on my dash. It's like, I don't want to have my mind busy with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's new. I haven't ridden at the track with a stupid check engine light on. I don't want to see that when I'm out there.
Well, especially if something really does go wrong with your engine, guess what? It's already on. It can't come on now.
Yes.
It now would come on because your cam timing is screwed up or something.
Yeah.
Which is a really bad thing, but now you'll never know when there is something wrong because it's always telling you there's something
Yes.
wrong.
So that kind of like, threw me off a little bit, and I said, okay, what do I do now? But anyways, that Sunday we went out, we had a great day, riding the minis at the
So
track.
can you see your Grom parked right up there?
Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's where you have to go. That's Speed Sports in New Caney,
Yep.
right?
On
Go-kart
on
track.
on the little track. On the little track.
This is on the little track, yes, a lot of fun, a lot of great practice. Some people may say, that's for kids and stuff. No, the kind of practice
This
that we
tired the
do,
hell out of me doing that.
that was the point that Chris keeps making, right? Because like on the big track, big bikes, you have a lot of room to just relax and then go into corners and then more room. Here, you're doing cornering all the time. You're doing a lot of it. So it's a lot of chance to actually practice, cornering skills. So that was great. And then I said it was a great day, but the whole messing with the shifting, that messed with my mind.
Yeah.
That drove me nuts. It's like, darn it, that's really driving me nuts. But all right, that check engine light. So like I said, I've removed the cover. I put it back on. That had nothing to do apparently with the problem. So yeah, I have to take it to a dealership. I don't have the connectors and the
We
stuff
tried.
to read the problem, right? We tried.
I couldn't get it to work on my bike, so I'm not sure how you get those codes. Jason
Yeah.
may know, but
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know how to do it. So I asked Alan, right?
Mhm.
And Alan said that at Mancuso, they have the computer set up to read Triumph data. I load my bike, I go down there, and unfortunately, Alan didn't know that the computer with the Triumph stuff had fried, I think like a week or two prior to it because of some, light surge or whatever. Dang it! Right, so from there I have to drive all the way up to Katy to another dealership. I call them just to make sure. It's like,
yeah,
do you
check to
have
make
your
sure it's
Triumph
not
computer?
fried.
No, it's all good. So I drive all the way over there, drop the bike off, and ultimately the problem was that exhaust valve actuator. That was the code. The code on the dash was that valve actuator was messed up. And when I mentioned to Jason, he actually sent me a link to a video that mentioned something about it. But again, it's one of those that's like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
What is that for? Do I need that for racing? What's the big deal? What if I don't fix that?
Yeah.
It was like the week of everything happening, and of course, in between all that, I'm doing work. I'm doing all the other stuff. I'm like, I don't know about any of that. I'm like, huh? What? So I just tell the guys, just fix it. I just want to get rid of that stupid light, and whatever is wrong with the bike, just fix it, right? Later, I learned that I didn't have to even spend all the money that I spent on that. I could just do the whole servo buddy thing, which is like, oh, dang it, right? Now, I could have spent like maybe 10% of what I've put into that fix and just do that, right? Because that,
5 days though shipping.
right, yeah, it would not help on that situation anyways, but it's like, okay, now I know, now I can tell people about it.
That's an eliminator?
Yep. It tells the computer that nope, the servo's
Everything's okay.
working fine. Turn the light off. It's all good.
Don't worry about it.
There really is a catalytic converter here.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, I don't know about those things. That's where it bites me, and it frustrates me, but it's like, it is what it is. So that was it about wrenching. That was the thing. Eventually, I got the bike ready. So I had a Friday practice for the races. I got the bike at the dealership on Thursday, like 5 minutes to 6, when they were about to close the shop. So
That is a busy week.
yes, so there's all that happening. All right, I go and go for my race weekend at MSRH, right? I get all set up there. Of course, our Beyond the Track banner in there and all that stuff. What goals did I have for that weekend? Satisfy the provisional novice requirements, right? Which is, since I'm getting started with my, getting my license, right now I'm considered a provisional novice, which means that I have some requirements to satisfy. and one of them is I have to finish 2 race weekends doing at least 2 races crash-free throughout practice and the races. You have to finish upright. And what does crash means? The bars cannot touch the ground. That's their definition of crashing, right? So that was my goal.
So you could run off the track.
You can run off
And-
track, that's fine, as long as you keep it up.
Yeah.
Or even if it's going up, but nope, it didn't touch the ground, it's all good, right? So that was my goal for the weekend. I just wanna finish that so that one thing is I don't have to ride with the t-shirt anymore, which I don't really care. If I'm riding with the, you know, the novice, you know, Prav novice, I don't care, right? Some people say, well, yeah, it's good if you ride with it because that tells the other guys, look, here's a novice, just give him some room. That does not quite happen in practice. You get some real
Fantasy
crazy,
land.
Yeah.
You can
close
probably
pass.
pass me, that's what that indicates.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna be easy. I'm an
Take
easy
the
prey.
chance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I've seen people like riding with that t-shirt that's like, dude, you are not a prof anymore. The way you're riding here, come on, right? You're just trying to show off here. So that was my goal. But most importantly, because of these requirements, you have to fulfill them within the year. So I have all the way up to October, which is the last race weekend, to get rid of that. If I don't fulfill those requirements, next year I have to start over. And I don't want to start over, right? I just want to be done with that. And then I had in my mind, okay, a stretch goal. Maybe I can do a little bit better than my first race weekend, which was back in March at NOLA, because there I had never ridden at that track. It was a track I had no idea how it was. So I was really literally just cruising around on all the 6 races I did there, right? Now MSRH, man, it's the track that I've been to the most. I know the
Oh,
track.
yeah.
I can go a little bit faster.
In both directions.
Right, in both directions, right? I know the track pretty well. Maybe I can do a little bit better. I don't plan on like winning a race or, you know, nah. I just want maybe a little better. It would be okay, right? So that was my goal. So Friday practice, weather's fine. It looked pretty good. We were not supposed to have rain. Maybe towards the end of the day there was some forecast for rain. There was no power at MSRH because of some also power surge or whatever happened like that week in the city. So they were all without power. So no warmers to run on my tires. So just take it easy, right? That's fine. I've run with slicks without having tire warmers. You just take it easier, out lap, you know, maybe take 2 laps, you know, warm up the tires and then you go. So it's like, all right, I've done that before, I can do it again. I do my first,
Quick question on
Sure.
warming up tires. You know, we all watch these videos and cars will go back and forth, left and right, left
Yeah.
and right. Is that real for bikes?
No.
Or is,
No,
I heard
not
it's
at all.
go and then hit the brakes, go
Yes,
and hit
you
the
need to
brakes,
flex the
go and hit the
tire.
brakes to flex the tire.
Brakes
I
and
just want to make
throttle.
sure.
If you ever
we
want
just
to
break that idea out, guys. All you guys on Bike Life Houston that are watching this right now, pay
Yeah.
attention to what we just said. It's about flexing the rubber. It's not about swerving left and right. That
Yeah.
does not make your tires hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You wanna
pretty
flex
silly
the
actually.
tires.
Yeah.
If you want a visceral example, take the end of your toothbrush, put it between your teeth and bite down on it several times. You will feel the plastic heat up because it's flexing.
Right.
And it's in your mouth. You'll definitely detect the change in temperature. So
Yeah.
you want to be hard on the brakes as hard as you can be to flex that tire,
Right.
and it will build more heat much more quickly.
Yeah.
Same thing, when you're straight up and down on a straight, accelerate as hard as you can to
Yes.
flex that tire.
All right, cool. So I go out first session of the day, and I look at my lap times. It's like, okay, even though I'm taking it easy, you know, you get rid of. Remember, the first 2 laps, I don't have tire warmers, so I'm just, you know, getting heavy on the gas and on the brake. And then from there on, I'm turning, you know, laps under 2 minutes. So it's like, you know, for the first session of the day, I'm just taking it
Yeah.
easy, not pushing at all. Like, all right, that's not too bad. Sounds good. And then another thing that's, thanks for bringing that up, because we haven't talked about that before. In race practices, we actually do it kind of like MotoGP style. At the end of the practice session, last lap, when the checkered flag goes out, there is an area of the track assigned to practice race starts. Because it's not something that we practice like on the street. Some people will do that, right?
Yeah.
When the lights go green, you're not supposed to do that. And on my previous races, I mean, that's not something I've practiced a lot. So me launching, it's like grandpa, you know, oh,
Yeah.
the light just went green. Right, so it's good, and I captured that on one of my videos here just to show how that works.
But yeah, on the starts, most people aren't expecting, wow, now my bike has 100 horsepower right off the line. Not starting at 2,000 RPM where it's only 12 horsepower. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Exactly.
So it was really neat to see that in your video.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Because so checkered flag was out. This is coming out of the diamond's edge. So here normally the proper line is to, you know, drift it to the right. So what we do is we stay on the left. We indicate that we're gonna stop to practice. We stay on the left, and then check out the racer right ahead of me. When he stops, he's gonna look, because some people maybe they don't want to practice this time out, so they just keep going. So when you stop there, designated area, make sure to look behind, right? Because the other guys, you're, you know, flat out here. You do your thing and you go, right? Look at grandpa. Right? It's like, man, that's...
Yeah, it's got to be a lot of clutch slipping there.
Yeah.
Keep the RPM up, but you never get a chance to practice that. You never even
Yeah.
think about it.
Exactly.
And if you
Right.
do, you get on the line against a bunch of guys that have never done that before. You have an instant advantage at the beginning of the race from the
Exactly.
practice.
Yeah. Oh, what happened here?
It's like, go find a parking lot, practice your drag racing. You think,
Yeah.
when am I ever going to use that?
Exactly. So I come back from that first session, I get back to the paddock, there is a lot of water coming out of my bike, underneath the bike. I'm like, okay, this is new. I've never seen that. My bike has never done that. What is going on, right? I'm about to already freak out. It's like, it's the first session of the day, come on, you know, cut me some slack. So I go ask some people, they say, well, maybe the bike overheated, maybe there was like a water bubble that the engine had to, you know, get out, whatever. I'm like, okay, what now? What do I do? So one recommendation was, you know, just put in some more water and water weather, you know, get the thing back in shape, run the engine, and see what it does, right? As the bike is standing there in the paddock, just see what it does to see if it was really an air bubble or something like that.
You guys just run water, no antifreeze?
No antifreeze. That's for racing. It's not even legal. Anything that's
Yeah, it's
so-
slick.
Oh,
It's
okay.
slick. The glycol
It's-
is so lubricant.
Yes.
Keep the track clean? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So we only use like distilled water, and there's like some enhancers like water weather or
Yeah,
weather
for
water.
a little corrosion
Anti-corrosion.
protection.
Right, but not like tap water, right? You don't want to get those minerals.
Yeah, exactly.
In your bike and stuff. So I never take distilled water to the track. That night, the night before that, when I looked at the gallon back home, I'm like, should I take this? I never thought about it. It's
Yeah.
like, but why? Yes, I needed it. So then the saga started because, you know, people around me didn't have it. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just drive to the gas station. They didn't have it at the gas station, so I have to drive to a grocery store, and you know the thing just keeps extending. Eventually, I get like 3 gallons of distilled water because I didn't know how much I was gonna need to run those tests. I put it back there, run the engine, let it run. When it heats up, there comes the water. I'm like, okay, that's not cool. Where is it coming from, right? And then, you know, remember me? That little guy there that I said that, you know, a couple days before.
Sure is clean now.
It sure is clean now. That's what, how I messed up. Now, before I get there, one lesson,
Oh, that hose.
one of those hoses, right? So, I think it was last month, Brian mentioned that one of the biggest lessons that he learned from like doing maintenance on your bike, always be gentle. I was not gentle when I did the thing the second time, right? The first time I removed that cover and put it back on, it was all good. I'm pretty sure it was all good. It was the second time around, the next evening there, I was like, oh, you know,
And it's dark and you
dark
can't
and
see.
uncomfortable. You can't see. that's when I pinched the stupid thing, right? So it was essentially me being me. I've mentioned like across, like ever since we started Beyond the Track, I said, I don't do bike maintenance because I know I'm gonna mess things up. I am clumsy. I've been saying that because I know that's, I keep doing that on everything that I do, right? And that's what happened. So, yep, sure enough, when I saw all the water coming out again, I noticed that it was coming from underneath this guy. So I'm like, okay, let me remove that cover. As I removed the cover, this guy was like a water jet because of the pressure. It was a lot of water coming out of that little thing, right? Because when I put the thing back together, it just pinched the whole thing on the side there. Now, good thing that during the session, even though I was hammering, right, it didn't like overheat or anything like that. But
It was still holding together. It hadn't blown yet.
Exactly. So it's like, right, it was just enough. So a buddy of ours there had this rubber sealant thing.
Oh yeah, you can get it at Harbor Freight.
I tried it, didn't work, right? So I did that, ran the bike, everything, let it heat up. As soon as it started getting really hot, it was coming out from the top. It was like finding its way up. Like, okay, that's not gonna cut. And then talking to this buddy, he said, well, maybe there's a Triumph dealership in the south side. I said, yeah, remember actually Alan mentioned there is one in the south side. So this buddy goes on his phone, Triumph, Angleton. He finds Triumph, Angleton. I'm like, it's gotta be that, right? So I thought, is it my salvation? That's the key. Is it my salvation? I drive over there, it's like 15-minute drive. I'm approaching the address, I'm like, there can't be a dealership, a motorcycle dealership here. As I'm approaching the place, what do I find? That is the Triumph Angleton.
And oh gosh,
You can pray.
You can pray. Heal thyself.
That's why I said, is that my salvation? When I saw that, I said, okay, this is that moment that you either get really mad or you just, okay, that's
Take a
like, to me,
picture.
it's like, no, it's a sign. To me, it was like, okay, dude, just chill, right? Because the way the day is going, you can either do something really stupid just to go back and ride and then regret because you don't do like
What you should have done to begin with.
it's like, as I was sitting there, I said, okay, I'm gonna sit here right in front of that church. I don't even know what kind of church it is. It doesn't matter. But it just helped me saying, okay, just chill, do the right thing. Pull up my phone, my notes. Okay, let me first call up some dealerships and say, okay, do you guys have this hose, right? And then of course, I call up the places and they're like, okay, what is that hose? I said, I know it's a water hose, dude, but I'm sorry, I have no idea if there's a name or where does it come from? Where does it go into? I said, I do not know. It goes back into the engine, but where it comes from, I can't really see it because it comes from behind the
I never could
reservoir.
figure it out on mine either.
So I don't know. It's like unless I get the tank out, I don't know where it comes from. And so I just know it has a weird shape because it has to come down and then come, in front of the sprocket and stuff. So then the guy was very nice to actually, and that's where I thought, I said, okay, just stop, see through it. That was very important to me. It's like, okay, why are you doing all of this? Right? Why are you doing this racing thing? And then I remember, like, why have I been saying that I got into racing? You guys remember?
Prove your writing. Yes?
To do, no?
Adrenaline.
No.
The experience.
The experience. Because I am not an aggressive person, like rider. I don't care about, okay, I need to pass that guy. I really need to pass that guy. Oh, I just got passed. I have to pass him back. I don't care. I honestly don't care. I like riding my own ride. I like looking back at my lap times and say, okay, I just tried this. Did it work? I tried that. Did it work? I want to beat myself. That's the only thing I'm in control of. Other riders, I don't want to care about that. There's too much involved in it. It's like, it's not my business. I got into racing specifically because since I've been building the Beyond the Track website for track day riders, I thought, well, what would it take for me to improve the website to make it also work for racers? Well, unless I know what that takes, I'm not going to be able to help out racers with that. Well, let me get myself into it to see when things like this, and then it came back to me, why are you doing that? Can you find opportunity in that adversity? That's when I stopped and I started taking notes. It's like, how can I build something where if something, should this happen to somebody else, and then ideas came to my mind. So I have a lot of ideas jotted down. It's like, okay, if I had this, if I had that, if I had the other, I could probably have, remediated the situation because I have the tools that I need at that point in time given the situation. So I had that all in mind, so trying to see opportunity in the situation. This guy at the dealership, he sends me the diagram, and I said, okay, it's gotta be this guy here.
17.
I said, it's 17. By the shape, it's gotta be 17. So he says, oh, okay, dude, yeah, we can place an order and it's gonna be delivered in 3 business days.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I said, man,
That's
no.
actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a really good
Yeah?
order time.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
14 working days has been my experience
Yeah,
with
so-
Triumph parts.
So this one, I called, I think the 4 dealerships about that. Nobody has it in stock. One of the guys said, yeah, we don't keep that in stock because it's rubber, they go bad. We don't
Yeah.
want to sell it to you when it's been sitting in stock for God knows how long. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. You sold me on that, but
And nobody breaks those.
right? Exactly. Right? Nobody. Well, Claudio does. See?
If you pinch it, it'll break, but otherwise it'll be fine for the life of the bike. But
Well, unless they can go bad, right? They can get dry,
they can over time.
right? Over time, yeah. And the guy who was pitted with us, he said, "Oh man, I just bought the water hose for mine because I know it's about time for me to replace because his bike I think is like 10 years old or something
Yeah.
like that." And he said, "I just want to change them and not have them, take a dump on me at the track."
Yeah.
Right?
Because that hose, I could not figure out where it went. So when we were back and forth with the photos, I'm looking on my bike, I'm like, I can't see where it goes inside the engine. No idea.
Yeah.
So you guys have the same bike?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
both have the big bike is the same and the small bike is the same. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. It's,
Right?
That's
but,
super
but we
cool.
can
It helps,
share info
yeah.
all the time. It's
Yeah.
like, mine's normal and working, so I can send you a picture of
Yeah.
mine, and vice
Exactly.
versa. It works great.
Right? So yeah, that's perfect. So that kind of stuff. So the guy sent me that. It's like, okay, that's not going to be an option. I'm not going to be able to find that hose. So it's like, okay, I'm going to have to go home. So at that point, I was still sitting in the car in front of the church. I got off all of that intel, wrote down. It's like, okay, it's not an option. Go back to the track. Go talk to Roger, right, our suspension guy who I bought the bike from. And I said, man, help me out. What can I do here? So he was very nice. I'm very thankful for him. He actually walked out to our paddock, looked at the bike, and then he gave me, because my goal at that point was I need to get the bike ready for Saturday to do my races, right? So here are the options. And then
That's what I was gonna say.
It's brilliant.
talking to
Today's-
Roger, he said, you can run like a car fuel line there, right? So I did go to AutoZone and I found, like that hose and I compared with the one on the bike, like same diameter and everything and the texture and the material. I'm like, okay, I can use that, right? Or what do you guys call it?
It's a
It's
barb.
hose
Yeah.
barb,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Again, one of those that Roger says, oh, you can use a hose barb. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
So Google, oh, that. The problem with that approach would be, okay, I'm gonna need to figure out removing the tank, figuring out where that thing go, and then also the shape of this is not the same as like the original, the stock part. So having all those shapes to come in front of the
Yeah.
sprocket.
So it goes in the right spot.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm not too keen on that option. This one, I feel like it could work. So I get that, I get the clamps and all that, and that actually works out. Just cut the piece out,
Cut the bad part out.
put that in there, and put the clamps.
Yep. This is brilliant.
I'm like, yes, I can actually do that myself. Ran the engine twice for like 20 minutes. I noticed that it didn't overheat, it didn't have any leak. I'm like, saved. But that I said, I'm going home, I'm packing my stuff, going home, and I'm gonna be doing that at home. I don't wanna do that at the track because I'm gonna be stressed out and I just accepted the fact that the day was done for riding, period, right? So did that. Saturday morning, right? I load the bike on the car again, and then am I ready? I mean, are you serious? I look at as I'm tying the thing down, the brake lever guard, it's missing that part. I mean, are you serious? You were there yesterday at the track. Where did you go?
It was on the way home or something like that, or?
Maybe it has fallen on the track on that first session. I didn't notice.
Gotta go back to that church and offer something to them.
Yeah.
Right?
Repent.
Right?
Repent.
The gremlins,
Yes.
The gremlin's got an in for you.
Guys, what's going on? As I'm tying down the bike, I'm like, what's happening? It's like, okay, before I head out to the track, I send a message on one of the forums and say, okay, does anybody at MSRH have one of those? When I got there, one of the guys said, oh, I don't have that, dude, but you have the clutch one. You can just flip it. I'm like, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, really?
Yes. They
Oh,
are
I didn't
interchangeable.
know
As long as
that.
you get the whole piece, right? You have to
Oh.
take the whole piece and move it over. I'm like, I didn't even think of that because I didn't think it was interchangeable.
Yeah, I thought there
like
was
that.
a left and a right, and
Is
they
that
were
a
custom
required
molded.
piece of equipment?
It's a
The
safety
brake one,
piece,
yes.
Yeah.
The clutch
yeah.
one, it's not. But the brake one, yes. Because since
What's it
you're
called?
getting so
Lever guard.
brake lever guard.
Yeah.
Because reasoning is, if you get too close to another rider and that rider like touches
Oh,
your
yeah.
brake, you're gonna end up,
Hmm.
and then it's
That's ugly.
yeah, it's a right. So got that out of the way as well. On Saturday morning, we get to do 2 practices, practice 1 and 2. I had no leaks. Power was back at MSR8, so I could run my tire warmers. Life is good, right? It's like, yay, finally, good news, come on,
Sun comes out.
right? They published the grid for my first race, right? And then they have, the first wave for the experts, the second wave for the novice. I'm down here. I'm like, okay, there's like, 6 guys behind me. It's all good. It goes according to my plan. As the lights go off, I would just wait a tiny fraction, let those guys go, and then I'll cruise, after them. I'm not in a hurry to like win races or whatever, right? I didn't want to be placed like here with everybody like going me like crazy into turn
How
1.
did they grid you for this? How's your position determined on the grid?
Registration, sign up.
Order?
Yeah. Yeah, for the guys, I think the guys up front are the guys who have like points.
Mhm.
So after the first race, when you have points, they do it by points, and then after that, it's just registration order,
Okay.
right? So that was that. It was cool. So race started. So let's watch a little bit of that. Which is, this is no MotoGP race, okay, guys? This is like appalling to say, oh yeah, that's my race. Want to watch? But just to give you a feel for, I'll tell you what I was feeling there. Alright, so we go out, we do the,
Warm up.
yeah, it's really a sightseeing lap just so that we are able to grid,
Flex your tires.
right? Flex your tires, yeah, absolutely. Because we're coming out of the paddock with the tire warmers, you want to keep the heat in those
Yeah.
tires. So here, you make sure on the straights, on the braking area to, keep that heat up, right? So we get there. Let's, let it run.
This is where we watch all the wheelies on the start.
Yes.
From behind you.
I
Oh
will
my
show,
goodness.
yeah, I will show the big one, right? And then there, off we go.
Wheelie.
I thought I actually didn't,
Oh, a few of them did that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I will go back to it because at this point, like, I saw one guy go by, a buddy of mine. I know that he's fast. I knew he was gonna go by real quick, but I get like into the corner. I'm thinking, where is everybody? Because I know that I'm not good at launching, and I'm like, okay, I'm going. I'm not that fast. I'm seeing one guy. I know there's more. Where are you people? Are you gonna catch me around this double apex corner? I was expecting people to go by real, like, inside out here, which didn't happen. So that was fun, right? Later, let me just pull the rear facing one before we continue on with this, right?
Fully
Because
always says, if you think you're 1 in a million, there's
Yeah,
a million people like you in China.
exactly.
They all just have the same idea that you had.
Yep, exactly. Right. So you see, like our buddy here on this bike, I think he had the biggest wheelie.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, but the
Right,
yellow
and then
bike
the
back
other
there.
guy, like this guy, he
Yeah.
does it like 3 times.
Their tires won't
Yeah.
be as smooth as yours.
Right? Yeah, so like check out the other guy there. That one.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Like
Yeah.
bang, bang, bang.
Just cue the Ice Cube music.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, just I guess taming the beast. So I'm like, okay, my launch was actually not too
It's
bad.
controlled, very controlled.
Right? Yeah, it was very controlled. I didn't feel like holy crap.
Yeah.
Right, so it was okay. I mean, I said that's not too bad. It's better than I had anticipated. Then what happens for me here? As you see, I knew where I was gonna get past. I'm not in a hurry. I could hear one of the guys approaching me on the keyhole corner here, like right here. I knew he was there, and I thought he was gonna catch me right out of it. So notice how I just I go wide, because I heard him here, and I'm like, I'm not fighting for that. And then of course like 3 guys go by. I'm like, I'm fine with that, dude. Just go have it. Check out this guy. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me extremely uneasy. That's why I tell you, call me a wuss, whatever, but I don't follow people too closely. Like when people pass me, it's like, okay, you have to catch him, because I mean, if this guy goes down, he would be like down right in front of me. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, nah, dude, there's nothing in it for me to actually win.
So how was your adrenaline level at this point on the first lap like this? Again, you just had to start with a bunch of people around. Is your heart rate up and you're just kind of having to tone it down and get your brain back in control?
I try to do like
Where were you at?
my breathing exercise type of thing. Like, okay, when I feel that I'm like tensing up,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
why I cannot do like a 10, take a deep breath, do 1, 2, 1, 2. You don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So what I do is just exhale, mindful, in a mindful way. So I go like, I'm tensing up, like
That's good.
let
Yeah.
that air out so that you can get back into the flow. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
I bet you're still 130, 140.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
probably yeah.
Yeah.
For measuring.
Especially if it's hot out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. It was hot. It was very hot that day. Now that you mentioned, and very humid, extremely humid. So this guy takes me on the inside. It's all fine. My buddy Mike goes by on the outside. Now notice the yellow flag. That messes me
yeah.
up. That really, really, really messes me up. I saw the yellow flag actually before the king, and I saw the 2 bikes down. And at that point, because I'm not really a racer, I went into track day mode. What do we do when we see the yellow flag?
Yeah.
You slow down, you don't pass, right? So immediately I roll off the throttle. That's why like Mike went by and I'm like, you see me falling behind, and then this
yeah.
other guy takes me on the inside around the corner, because I'm like, okay, I roll
Yeah.
down, I don't know what's going on here, but
Yeah.
in a race situation, you don't pass it like right inside of here, even though I did get past there, but you keep going. My problem was that for like the next 2 or 3 laps, because the bikes were still there, they had the yellow flag out.
Yeah.
So every time when I got to that section, I would slow down. Even though I knew I could go faster, I would still, my mind would say, slow down. And I didn't
Yeah.
really have to, right? So that essentially killed my race at that point, because once this other guy passed me, I stayed ahead of this rider for, I think 2 laps, maybe. I think he's on a Triumph Daytona as well.
Yeah.
And it seems like we were sort of like evenly matched when you look around. Like at some points I
The
was
gap
like,
is pretty consistent.
yeah, like I was pulling away from him, and then when he caught me 2 laps later, I didn't make any effort to like keep up. I'm like, I just want to finish the race, not in a hurry, type of thing. And I mean, the race is up, the video is up online. You guys can watch the whole thing later. But I mean, from here, if I just play full speed, it's uneventful because everybody already pulled away, right? This racer will follow me for 1 or 2 laps. He tries it here, he can make it. I pull away a little bit, right? Keep on doing that. I think it's, yeah. So
Yeah.
here he goes by and I'm like, just go, dude, you know, have fun. And then it isn't until like later, let's see. Whoop. Let's just see when I get lapped. Because I knew that was gonna happen because with expert racers, in
Yeah.
the same class as you, unless you were really fast,
These are 600s.
yes. Right, so, and I mean, you see the how easy it was for this
Yeah.
guy to go by me. I mean, he goes by so fast,
Yeah.
right?
But then he really backed off, and I
Yeah.
thought, wait, this is odd. And then he realized that's his
Yeah.
final lap.
I
He
agree.
just crossed the start finish on the checker. And then it's
Exactly.
like, well, Claudio, you really picked up your pace catching up
Right?
to this guy.
You're killing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, you're right behind him.
Right, so at that point I'm like, that's all good, and I was completely fine with that, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But you know, looking at yeah, so I talked about what's slowing me down, so the things that actually slowed me down during the race. I look at the results, like bunch of riders, that's me, and I'm like 153.2. That's actually not bad. My PB is 152.4. So I was like under a second
Yeah.
from my PB, and I was not pushing. Like I said, I felt like I was cruising. I was slowing down where there was the yellow flag. I'm like, all right, that's not bad. And then when I looked at like the guy who
Yeah.
lapped me, look at his lap time. 135.9, that's some serious business. That's like, it's a badass lap time, right? That's really quick. And then, I mean, you look at everybody else, like, other than 3 riders who were, you know, in the low 50s, everybody else was either in the 40s, the top 8 were were in the 30s. So it's like, okay, I didn't do too bad this time. It was okay, right? So that made me feel a little bit happy. Right, and looking at, again, like I said, at my, you know, individual lap times, it's like on the out lap, you know, 159, like Michael
From the
mentioned, that's
stop.
from the stop, like,
Yeah.
okay, that's not too bad. You know, with all the guys like passing me and me slowing down, if I didn't have that slowdown with everybody going by me and I'm a little bit overwhelmed, it's like, okay, let these guys have their fun. And then the yellow flags, like, okay, that's actually pretty decent, right? And then after that, running everything like within 54, 53, it's like, all right, I'm pretty, you know, fine with that performance. You know, it was not stellar, but again, I'm racing myself. Like I said, I want to see my improvement. If I'm out to compare to others, I'm gonna get flustered because some
Yeah.
of those guys, man,
Yeah.
they are hammering those.
Yeah, those
lines.
videos
It's
are hard to
amazing.
watch at that speed because you're used to a certain speed and it's like, whoa, it's on
Yeah.
fast forward, it's crazy.
Yes.
So just to interject one time. So
Sure.
what we just watched you do, was that the first race of your trying to be CMRA, or was it the second one? Oh, it's a whole weekend you have to do, right? For your
Yes.
second. So this right now we watched the first day and
On
then
Saturday.
On Saturday, so we're gonna watch Sunday now.
No, we're gonna watch my second race.
Second race
Right?
on Saturday.
Because, yeah, my
2
second
each
race
day.
because there are 7
Okay.
races. You can do as many as you are eligible for. I signed up that day to do 2 on Saturday because my thinking was there was rain expected for Sunday,
Mhm.
so I thought I'm gonna do 2 races on Saturday, and I just hope to finish them crash free, and then I don't have to ride Sunday because the thing is, if I do 2 races on Saturday, I don't crash. I do 1 race on Sunday and I do crash, it cancels out the weekend. I have to do again.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna call it, you know, a weekend. That was my plan, right? I wish it had gone, you know, as expected. So my next race, the goal is to just finish this damn race. Just go out there, turn 6 laps, stay upright, and you know, you're good, you're good. All right, so I look at the grid, same thing, a bunch, there's more riders on this one. Some real fast names, I recognize those names because I've
Oh,
seen
wow,
their
yeah.
times before. It's ridiculous, I know that they're fast. And then I'm back here, I'm like, okay, I'm at the back, I can stay at the back, stay out of the way of trouble, all good. But this is how it ended, right? A nice shot of my butt here taken from my rear-facing camera. So that's how it ended.
Oh,
We
wow.
are going to actually be, before we look at the video footage and all that, there's gonna be a whole section just for that. I'm gonna get over that, and you're gonna revisit the actual footage.
You have
So-
to do both races in one weekend? I missed that.
Yes, so in the one weekend you have to do at least 2 races, right? You can do more if you want, but if you crash, like when I went to NOLA, I did 6 races. If I crashed on the last race, it would cancel out my whole weekend.
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's why I took it really easy there. I'm like, okay, since I have to drive all the way there, I wanna, at least
Yeah.
have a good time just riding and
Yeah.
learning the track, right? So now that I've crashed, what's gonna be my plan? I need to recover physically. I have to be physically fit to be able to actually ride the bike again. I need to fix the bike. I didn't have major damage. I'll tell you about that later, but it's just minor stuff. And I need to do another crash-free weekend, 2 races within this year. That's my plan now. Looking at numbers, right? Closing off that race weekend, my failed race weekend, right? So races, I have 8 races under my belt, 1 DNF. I did 11 practice sessions this far. I finished dead last all races but 1. I got lapped on all races but 1. So if anything, I'm very consistent. Right? Consistency is key, right? So yeah, that's all as part of a joke. But yeah, I didn't mind, arriving or finishing dead last on races and getting lapped. It's like not my goal. I don't care.
Nowhere to go but up.
Right? Yeah. So if you look at the CMRA where they show like the overall standings, I'm actually 52 out of 110.
Hey.
Like, how the heck?
Hey.
How does that work? Right? How do I arrive, finish dead last and I'm still, up there? Like, all right, however that works. Class breakdown, because of the different classes that I've raced, heavyweight twins, B superbike, C superbike, B superbike, and all those, you get, the place that you finish. So it's like, oh, I finished 2nd in a race. I was not dead last. Maybe I was dead last, but in that class, there were 2 bikes, and I was the 2nd bike. So that's not too bad. Actually, that one, no. There were 3 bikes that were twins. That was the one that I didn't finish last.
Mm.
Your bike's a twin?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, the Daytona is a twin.
No, Daytona's a triple.
Oh, triple. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did I qualify for
I
that?
have no idea.
I guess they
You
did.
took
Yeah,
a spark
that's
plug
right.
wire off or something.
Ah.
Ran
No,
it
yeah,
as a twin.
that's a good point. But the Daytonas, they
classes-
do qualify for that. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, the
I
classes
entered that.
aren't always what they advertise.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Well, probably the
That's
big ones
true.
are closer to the.
Yeah.
It could be,
E
yeah.
and C superbike. It's like, okay.
Right. Right, so that's kind of fun, looking at that, and then you see like B super stock novice. Oh, that's me, right? But then again, I only did 1 race in that class on 1 race weekend. But it's kind of like just cool to see, the guys were really going to like for the championship,
them.
how they're doing and stuff like that. B superbike and all that. So if I were to pursue something, maybe the heavyweight twins, that's where I would have a shot at. Like I'm 4th currently, even though I only did,
Wow.
actually I did 2 races. Oh no, I did only 1. I was gonna do another one that weekend, but ended up not doing it. So there's that. So now let's talk about the crash and whatever footage I got from that. So when I came out of the thing, I knew that my GoPro had been taken out of the bike on the crash, and it stayed there. It was like lost. Later, I sent some messages around, and then the track marshal who actually helped pick up my bike and take it away, he said, "Oh, I know where the bike was. I'm gonna go and look for the camera." He went back there, very thankful for that. He got the camera, he got the master cylinder reservoir, and the brake lever
so
guard.
it was only the reservoir, not the master cylinder that clamps to the bar.
Just
Okay,
the
when you told me
reservoir?
the master cylinder, I thought,
Oh, sorry.
holy crap, did you snap the handlebars
Yeah, no,
off?
only the
Ah.
reservoir and the brake lever guard.
That's interesting because when I crashed my Daytona, the only damage was the reservoir popped off.
Okay.
So same thing. So I guess it's kind of vulnerable or whatever on our bikes, but I
Well, and
was
remember,
grateful.
mine was zip tied,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but so that was that. That was pretty cool that I got the thing back. But when I got the camera back, and I tried playing the video on my computer, the file was corrupted, right? Which was not cool. As we got here today, I put the memory card on the camera. When I switched on the camera said, recovering your file. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. I like that. And then we're gonna watch a little bit of that.
There we go.
It's better. It stops there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is because you know, the remaining footage is, you know, for only people, you know, over 18, because, you know, it's
Yeah.
very graphical what
Yeah.
you're gonna
It's
see
like
next.
It's like the Rockford Files, right?
Well,
Cartwheels.
So here, that's the front-facing one. We're gonna look at the rear-facing one, which goes through. This, it pretty much cuts, probably like, it cuts out like a second and a half from this moment to the moment when the bike hits the ground and the camera stops. Because it happened really fast. So let's look at the rear-facing one. Well, not that one, that one. Right, so from the same spot.
Just lock up a tire.
What happened there?
You also pulled in that clutch while you,
Front tire.
while you were braking. You were coasting at that point. So,
So what
something.
happened?
Where was your head pointing to at that point?
Right? What happens there, right? So before we go through those analysis, let me take you the aftermath of that, and we're gonna come back to the analysis because it's something that I'm still trying to figure out. I know a lot of stuff, and I think I know what's going on there, but I wanna run it by you guys just to see how you feel. So we're gonna revisit that, right? So, but how? Just how? What happened? Because it feels so stupid, right? It's like, what happened exactly? You were going and then you're off track and you're,
Kind of a little bit slow motion.
yeah, it's like, what's
Yeah.
going on, right? We'll come back to that. Here's a breakdown of a bunch of stuff, right? So what was I thinking by the time that like I'm off the bike, I'm about to hit the ground? Remember that the crash definition there is the bar shouldn't touch the ground? That's what I had in my mind.
I can see
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like going up, I'm like, is it gonna touch the ground? Yeah, there's no saving of that, Marquez. Right? Yeah, I mean, as soon as I hit the ground and I'm tumbling, I'm like, damn it, it hit the ground. That
Someone's
was,
asking, did this happen to the CMRA race a couple weekends ago?
that's correct.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I was one of those guys that held up that race
Yeah.
because I had to get transported. Right. So I'm sorry, guys. Apologize for that. There was another buddy who crashed, like I said, two corners later. So it was an unusual situation. And that, it's the outlap. We are just going out to, you know, grid up.
Oh, that was the outlet.
That was the outlap.
Oh, okay.
That was another thing that was crossing my
Ah.
mind. It's like, dude, what happened? How did you do that? We're not even racing yet. It took me days like to just get over that, right? It takes a toll on you, right? It's like, what are you doing? You just had to go out and take like 7 laps and be done with that. You've done, you know, thousands of laps around that track.
It's like crashing in round robin at a track day.
That's how I felt.
I've done that. It's like I wasn't even trying. It was
Yeah.
just following. And
That's how I felt. I felt really bad for days about that. Right now, remember
The turtle.
last year that I rode by a turtle and I scared off a turtle? Well, guess who was back there? The turtle taking a selfie, right? Yeah, she was there. I'm pretty sure that she was looking me up as the guys were like helping me out, right? Oh, and actually, you know, now here, does it look like it's the airbag is deployed here? No, it cannot be. By that time, it would be deflated already.
Did you ever find out if the airbag went off?
So that was
Does
a
it
question
tell
a
you that-
lot of people asked me, did the airbag deploy? Yes, it did. So first I looked up the manual to see the LED, what it shows
Yeah.
in such a case. And by the code it seemed like, and then I made a little video of the thing, sent it over to Dianese. They said, yes, it did deploy, you know, ship it over so that we can repack it. And then I also remembered, like replaying the situation in my head, I do remember as I got off the track, coming out of the bike, I remember hearing this pop sound.
Yeah.
In my head it was like, well, it's something that broke in the bike with the impact and stuff. I didn't even think it was the airbag. No, that was
Yeah.
the airbag. Right before me banging on the ground, I heard that sound
Yeah.
really
it's,
loud.
It's one of those you've never heard before.
Yeah.
So how do you know what it is?
Exactly, and since you know it happened fast, I was stumbling there. I felt my back hurt, so I said, okay, I'm not gonna move. I don't know what's going on there. And by the time you're like, okay, what's going on? One of the first questions that I asked one of the guys that went out there is like, did the airbag deploy? He said, well, if it did, it probably deflated by now because it takes
Yeah.
like 35, 40 seconds for it to deflate. So I didn't know until a couple of days later. I'm very glad that it did deploy. Otherwise, my broken collarbone would have been a lot worse, right? Because it was like the bone was pointing up. You could see through my skin.
Oh yeah.
It would have been nasty.
Santiago said what's up to everybody.
What was that?
Santiago?
Oh, what's up, buddy?
Hey.
Yeah,
Hey.
Santiago is the man.
The transporter.
Exactly, the transporter. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Excellent, man. Yeah,
So
I'm
they're
gonna be
asking if
mentioning you
The
here.
airbag was instant. So you said that it went off before you hit the ground.
Yes.
So
Oh, yeah.
it did happen instantly
Yes.
before you had the time to hit the ground.
Yeah, it was just like I felt coming off the bike, and then I heard this. Pah! It's like a little explosion,
Yeah.
and then I hit it, and you know went tumbling around.
You're not gonna recover from this.
Yeah, there's like you are in a dangerous situation. That's
Yeah.
what the electronics.
You're not
do
riding
there.
back to the paddock.
No. Right, so that was that exactly. So that, yep, I had to get on the ambulance because like I got some help to just stand up, and I felt like hurting
Yeah.
kind of bad back here. It's like, yeah, I'm not good. So they put me on the ambulance. The cameraman here is the rear facing camera on my bike.
Oh really?
As they were taking it out,
It's
and I
still
looked-
just running at
It
this
was still
point?
running. It was
Oh.
running all the way back down to the paddock. So you see like Jason and Brian looking up. It's like, oh, what's going on?
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah, it was recording all the way, and then eventually I think Jason actually stopped it and turned it off. So there was that, right? So me getting into the ambulance, and then bad time for questions, right? So they take us back to the paddock, and then they're running, vitals and things like that to see how we're doing. And then one question is, okay, they said, okay, it's good, it's better for you to go to the ER. It looks like, yeah, you have a
Yeah.
fracture there. They're checking the vitals. They're like, okay, you have two options. That ambulance does not leave the track. So you either find a way to get to the ER, right? Or they call up the ER to send one of their ambulances. And then you already start thinking, medical bills. How
Yeah.
much is that gonna cost me?
Yeah.
Right? I was feeling like, okay, it feels like I'm under control. I'm not feeling like overwhelmed with pain.
Shock.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, okay, I'm very conscious. I remember everything. And then Santiago was there helping me out, and I remember I said, man, can you go get my cell phone, my wallets? They are here, they are there, the car keys, just make sure, to like roll up the windows because it's supposed to rain later.
Mm.
I was thinking through all those things, and then I asked Santiago, are you okay taking me to the ER, right? It's gonna mess up your riding day, because he was riding that day. He said, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. But then in between, the guys in the ambulance said, well, I don't look the fluctuation in your vitals, like the blood pressure. He said, I don't like the readings the way it's going. It's better to call up and get on their ambulance. And because if I went on my own, you have to wait in line for them to see you.
Oh, that's a good point. If you show up in an ambulance, you get in. You don't sit in the waiting room with a
Exactly.
number in line.
Yeah, so at that point I'm like, yes, let's do that. I don't care, let's do that, right? So we go, right? Get there, x-ray. I didn't see this x-ray, like the thing printed out, but Santiago went there, took a photo with his phone.
Oh,
When I
yeah.
looked at that the first time, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that does not look good. But I was looking at the wrong
That's
stuff.
normal, yeah.
Yeah. But remember, I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the first time I ever got hurt. I had never broken a bone in my life. I had never gone to ER like that.
Bone that ends in the
It's
middle of
this
the
guy
Yeah,
here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But, and I was seeing on his phone, it's like, okay, the first thing that came to me is like, oh, that doesn't look good.
Oh, man.
It was this thing here, right? So it's like, but then at the ER they said, you know, you are not like under life-threatening situation like collapsed lungs or a chance of like puncturing
Yeah.
your lungs or anything like that. They said it's gonna hurt for a little bit. If you leave it like that, it will heal on its own. But probably what you should do is go see a specialist on Monday to maybe, you know, see what kind of surgery you may have to do, whatever. I said, okay, that's what I'll do. And then I'm thinking, you know, meanwhile, I'm communicating with my wife, letting her know, okay, this happened, I'm okay, don't worry about it, I'm being taken care of. And then, you know, she proceeded to, like, she was gonna go to the ER, but they got a lot of traffic on 288 that day. By the time that they were freed from that, I was already released from the ER. So I said, you know, just head to the track. Santiago will take me back to the track. Meanwhile, Brian and Jason were already like packing everything for me. By the time we got to the track, we just had to drive the car back home. My bike was loaded, all my gear and stuff, everything was in the car already.
Buddy
It's our
power.
community here, it's our people, right?
Yeah.
That's why we do these things. Because at that point, if you don't know people, if people don't like you, right, you would be hosed, you know, with a
Yeah.
broken clavicle, going back and still having to figure out what to do with your stuff,
Yeah.
right? But my stuff was all there. Talked about my GoPro. The following days, I had to wait until Monday to go see the specialist, and then he scheduled surgery to Wednesday. So throughout all that time, I have that bone sticking up, and as I
That's
move, I
fun.
feel the bone moving, not fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's the first time.
How long
30
was it?
years riding a bike, that's the first time I ever got hurt.
How long was it before they fixed it? Between the crash and the...
So it
4
was
days.
Saturday is when I
4
crashed.
days?
Wednesday
Oh, man.
is when I got the surgery.
Oh my gosh, were you having spasms?
I was not. I was so glad that I was not feeling a lot of pain up here. Most of the pain, which I'm still feeling, is from the bruises on the rib cage. While I didn't break it, it
Yeah.
was a big hit, so I still feel that. So sleeping at night is still painful.
Yeah.
That part still hurts, and it will hurt for a little while.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I have nothing to complain. I mean, this is.
The ER docs didn't give you any pain medicine?
They did
Oh.
some pain meds, yeah, absolutely. So I did take those, right? So did surgery 2 weeks ago. I'm in recovery mode. Just started physiotherapy today. It will take me like 10 weeks of physio and all that to be back on track. They said, you know, between 2.5 to 3 months for full recovery. Shouldn't have any mobility problems or anything like that. So I'm like, yes, let's do this. That's what it looks like now. So I'm a metal guy, I'm metal to the bone, right? With all the nice pins and stuff, but and a note about protective gear. That expensive suit that I got last year,
Yeah.
it paid off just on that.
Yeah.
The back protector and the chest protector, heck yes. Right, so I got like the good one, the Pro,
Yeah.
what is it called?
Sub 4.
Sub 4,
Yeah.
Pro whatever, which is like $200.
Yeah.
But yeah, people at the ER, the ones that
Respect.
transported me, they said, yeah, I saw your gear, good. They
Yeah.
said if you were not wearing that, it would have been nasty.
Were the ER doctors rough with you?
Not really. I mean, not really. And whenever they tried, I was like, yeah, that's dangerous and whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I was having a lot of fun. So I will heal up and I will go ahead and keep doing it because people play soccer and they break their collarbone playing soccer.
Yeah.
So don't give me crap about it. And if they did, I'm like, you know, English is not even my primary language. I don't get the references. I don't get the jokes. So you can say whatever. I don't care. Yeah, like whatever, dude. God. You know, I really do not care.
Sometimes
Yeah.
when they find out you're doing reckless stuff, they
Yeah.
take a little extra special attention to make sure you enjoy the
Yeah.
experience.
Right. Yeah, but no.
Teach you a lesson.
And I talked to them, and they saw my gear and everything, and how I was talking to them about it. It's like I gave them the impression that it's like I'm not an idiot. I'm not a stupid. Right.
Yeah.
It happened because it can happen. Right. But it's not because I was like chasing it.
Yeah.
Right? Because some people do seem to be chasing
Yeah,
it.
it's the difference between being reckless and
Yes.
being prepared for the possibilities.
Yes, exactly. So here are my thoughts, right? I don't know if you guys remember that first time I crashed last year, which was terribly similar to this one right now. Let me get this and just skip to the point where I actually get out of track.
So this is Crescent?
That was ECR, Eagles Canyon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
lap.
That's a
Check
pretty
this
ass-
out.
That looks pretty.
This is a great track, and they're repaving it this year. I'm
Nice.
still waiting for the email to say
Yeah,
they're going to
it will
open
come
it.
out sometime later this year. I think it was on this lap. I'm doing the same thing I was doing before, or similar to it. And then boom, there I go, ta-da, boom. Right? Very stupid fall. Again, I'm doing like 20 miles an hour by the time I hit the grass, but it was wet. I didn't know how to actually keep the bike upright on wet grass. So it was very
Yeah.
similar to that, right? Now, why do I bring that up? Because this fall was very similar to that. My thoughts on what happened there. Let me play you another clip of how I normally do, you know, that section. So coming out of bus stop, I'm usually in second gear. I short shift right before the sweeper, and then I just keep going up. So third gear, those are long gears. Fourth, fifth, downshift one, and then third. That's how I normally do it, right? Even though some people say you don't need to downshift, you can just keep rolling and then you do it afterwards. I don't have those big balls type of thing yet, so I downshift one, go into it, and then do the rest of the stuff. Well, notice now what happened when I crashed this last time.
So you're still in second.
Yeah, so here, yeah, that's bus stop. So coming out of this guy,
You're still in second.
short shift.
Keep leaning the phone. It's so funny, and I catch myself having to reach straighten up the phone because I'm like watching it through the phone. And I like start leaning the phone left and right. It's so funny.
That's hilarious. Fourth, fifth.
Oh,
Oh.
Did you see what happened there?
You shifted the wrong direction. That's why you pulled in the clutch.
Yes.
Oh.
Now here's
Yeah.
here's what I think happened. It wasn't the whole, oh man, last weekend I rode the Mini at the track with standard, you know, shift, and that messed me up. No, because I did like 3 practice runs. I did the first race, not a single problem. I was riding just fine. Not once I messed up shifting. This time out, I'm doing my thing. Bam, second gear, third, fourth, fifth. Next thing, instead of going down, my brain decided to go up. And it was not like, I don't remember me thinking, do I go up or down? No, it was like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
So I was expecting to hear the revs go up.
Yeah.
It didn't. It go brrr. I'm like, okay, whoa.
Yeah.
At first I thought maybe false neutral, something like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
So I pulled on the brakes, I looked down, proceeded to look down to see if there's something wrong. As I looked down, I saw 6 on the dash. Then I realized, okay, that's
wow.
what happened. By then, I missed my turning points.
Yeah.
When I look up, that's where I should be looking, where I had to go. I was looking here.
Yeah.
That was my mistake.
Yeah.
I was looking here. By the time I realized, so I downshifted. Look, right
Yeah.
before going off track, I downshifted. But
Oh wow.
I mean, you're going, here was I think 57 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That happens too fast. It's like next thing I know, I'm down.
Yeah.
And as it was going, the funny thing is that, you know, as I realized that, you look at the speed that I'm going there, like 110, 20, and I didn't even get to 130, I don't think. Right, so here I've realized, oh, there's something
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
And this is roughly my turning point, because I wait to go by those ripples that's like unsettling,
Yeah.
and then I go in. So at this point, okay, there's something wrong. I proceed to look down, oh, 6th gear, damn it,
Yeah. you
that's
got
what
distracted.
happened. So I have to correct it, but it took me, did you see how long it took me to go into 5th gear? I was
Yeah.
just on the edge of the track. It took me way too long, but at least I did go from like 120 down to 60
Mm-hmm.
before I hit the deck. But man, it drove me nuts. And I'm like, that's what I think what happened. Now,
Yeah.
why I went up one is thinking, oh yeah, you can keep going up a gear. It's like, no. Here's where you downshift.
Yeah.
Really, I cannot tell you why I went into that mode.
Yeah. You got
But-
distracted there.
So
Yeah.
coming out of the turn, when
much.
you're in a higher gear, right? You're like, okay, I feel like I'm free spinning because you're coming down. You're coming into a turn. You're supposed to be slowing down, but you're slowing down in a higher gear. Just like you thought it was a neutral. He pulled in neutral, or you
Yeah.
pulled in the clutch and thought he was rolling into the corner. Is it because you're not applying centrifugal force to the rear tire to make it turn sharper?
No,
Is
he
that
got
the problem? What's
distracted.
happening? Okay, so it was just a
He got
distraction and
distracted.
just
You
kept
were
going.
thinking.
Because in 6th gear, you can make that corner.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
you
so
know,
you can make the corner in 6th
You
gear,
can
okay.
pull in the
Yeah.
clutch and coast through that corner at 110 miles an hour and you'll
Yeah.
make it.
You were-
Claudio got
You were
distracted
thinking.
because
Yeah.
something unusual happened he wasn't expecting.
Mm.
Too
Yeah.
much above the neck. Not
Yeah.
enough
Well,
below.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those, I'm on my rhythm, I'm hearing the engine, bam, 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 it's all
Yeah.
good. The next one, I'm waiting for the right signal, which is the revs going up,
Yeah.
but my body actually did the opposite. It went up a gear, and like, okay,
Yeah.
wait, oh,
Were you tired
Yeah.
at that point?
There you go.
I was not.
That's
No,
the
I-
mistake I would
it's
make.
the
when I'm
out-
tired.
Yeah, I didn't feel tired. I mean, dang it, I've been riding like double day weekends under 100-degree weather,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm always hydrated. I'm always like taking my time cooling off. There was a big gap in between like the second race and this race, or my first race and this one, maybe like a 1 hour period in between. So I didn't feel tired at all. I was like, you know, chatting with the guys like, okay, I'm just going out there, gonna turn my 7 laps or whatever, come back and call it a day. And then that happens. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
It took me a while to shake that off and just, you know, because I was mad, I was embarrassed. It's like, this is embarrassing. What the heck has just happened? Right?
Yeah.
But again, I'm like, let me see through this, let me analyze, let me collect all the data and show that to people. Because on
Yeah.
my first crash, the byproduct of it was the same problem. I crashed that first time because of the same thing. It was a double apex handle. I'm about to hit the apex, I hit a big bump. It, you know, startles me. I pull the bike up right. Instead of continuing looking into the second apex, I'm looking to the edge of the track. That's where I go. Here was the same thing. There's this little something. I look down and I look up instead of looking where I should go, which what drives me also insane is that, you know, my normal routine here is when I'm coming down the back straight here, I'm aiming at this tower. That's my reference point. I know that I have to brake to that tower.
Yeah.
Right, because
Wait, can you use your little pointy thingy? Oh, okay,
Right
that
here.
tower. Okay.
yes,
okay.
right, not this one because that's where I end
Yeah.
up going. This is where we have to brake to because at the end of that section, if you look at it, look, here I have to turn in see, that's the end of the braking zone, right? So I looked down here, I saw 6th gear. When I looked up, I should have looked here. But it happened so fast that next thing I know, I look up, I'm seeing this thing here, right? And I told my wife before I watched this video, I said, the last thing I remember when people ask me how fast were you going when you went down, I said, I can swear I saw 60 miles on the dash. And looking at this is pretty much it.
Wow.
So that was like right by the time, you know, so I know that like around here, I was looking down. Right?
Yeah.
By the time I look up, it's like, nope, that's,
Wow.
you know, too late. By the time you hit that wet grass, this is it, man.
So do you cut it here, or does it?
It just
It just stopped there.
It just stopped there.
Because yeah, with the crash, the way it hit the bike where the camera was mounted, it took out the camera,
Okay.
right? And then it just stopped recording right there,
Okay.
right? So it probably recorded another like a second and a half, but that didn't get written to the memory card.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
That's why it stops right there.
Okay. So the only other video that we have of this is the rear tail.
The rear.
Yeah.
Can we watch that again real quick? Since
Yep.
we're-
Yeah,
everybody
and that one
involved
was
in your wreck
tricky
right now, so
because
we'll
you
see
can't
that.
see the instrumentation or anything else. It really fills in the big picture of what was
Yeah,
happening
watching it
here.
from that
See
front
yeah.
view.
Right.
Yeah, because watching the rear view, which I probably watched like 5 times or whatever on YouTube,
It's like, what's
I
going
could
on?
hear what was going on, but I couldn't tell what gear you're in. I thought you missed a gear or went into a false neutral, which
Right.
would have been unusual, but
Yeah.
usually on the track, if I hit a false neutral, I pull in the clutch.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where it is. It could go back into gear at any time unexpectedly, so I pull in the clutch, which is what you did
Right.
after the pseudo braking zone.
Yeah.
I heard you pull in the clutch because the RPM was down at like 2,000 or whatever. It
Right.
wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And you'd had mechanical problems a few days before, and I was thinking, oh man, did that coolant line let go? Was there something else at play here?
Right.
So yeah, it's good to see the instrumentation on the bike giving you
Right.
the big picture of,
Yeah.
you know, where were you at? But yeah, that
Exactly.
gear indicator.
Right.
But yeah.
Man.
So you must have been thinking, I'll just go back and get.
Can you slow mo that?
I can
Frame by
only
frame.
do
Cursor
like this.
keys,
Yeah,
yeah.
cursor keys. So yeah.
Okay.
It's like, how did you get all those pictures of your boot and everything? And like
Yeah,
it goes
yeah,
by.
So
No
that's what I
time
did, right? I
whatsoever.
just went, okay, what's going on here?
Frame at a time.
Yeah.
So the bike's sliding on its right side.
Right.
Now it's
Yeah.
about to flip.
So
Okay.
after you
I'm
realized
down.
there was
Claudio.
a problem.
Claudio, it's the boot.
Right. Yeah.
You must
He's
rolling.
tumbling.
You're
He's
tumbling.
tumbling.
I'm tumbling. The bike's tumbling. Look at that.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the buddy who crashed. That the
2 laps over,
the-
2 laps, or 2 turns.
Two
Two
turns
turns
down.
later.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the swing arm snapping. Right. So
Oh geez, that's just-
that, and then here, I don't know if it's tumbling one more time.
There you are. Okay, we
Yep.
saw you.
Yep. Exactly.
And you're away from the bike, so the bike and you never collided and hit each other.
Yes.
So you stayed away from the bike, okay?
Yes. Right. That's
Okay,
me
there you are
again. Yep. That was again part of my realization. Damn it! It did hit the ground.
Yeah.
Like, shoot. Right.
Right
So,
to hold it
yeah.
up.
There. Right, yep, that's me. Like I tried looking at this to see if the airbag was inflated, but it's like too hard to tell.
Yeah.
And with the
The
t-shirt
jersey
there,
really
jersey there.
obscures.
So I'm like, okay, I don't know what happened there. Then I think now the bike settles down.
So after you realized you shifted incorrectly, you must have went through some sort of a mental diagnostic.
Yes, exactly.
I watch professionals on TV. I don't think I really recall them getting up on the pegs.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you
Yeah.
get on the pegs, Mike?
I do treat it like a dirt bike if I gone off the track. I mean, I've only done it on the street. I haven't gone off the track on
You get
the
out of the
track.
saddle.
I get light on the front bars. I do not use the front brake, and I
Yeah.
mash the rear brake as soon as I possibly can. You have to slow down somehow. Cody was mentioning when he ran off at the launch, the first thing is stand on the rear brake, try to build a wedge of dirt in front of the rear tire, because that's the only thing slowing your bike down. And
Oh, yeah.
you try to go in a straight line
Yep.
and get it under control, but be ready, because the bike's going to kick you off at any time and you're not going to know when. The other thing is the grass is out there. You don't know what the dirt actually looks like. If there's whoops or whatever in it, you can't tell because it looks like a field of grass. It could be smooth. It could have like a washing machine down there in the dirt. So stay away from the front of the bike, stay off the brakes. That's my strategy, and just mash the rear brake.
Do you visualize
Stop.
crashes much?
So what?
Do you visualize crashes much? What to do in those situations?
I've never. I mean,
No?
I probably should. I know it's something that can happen, but because of the way that I ride, I don't normally put myself in like risky situation. I mean, Michael has been riding with me. He knows the way I ride. I'm not like, you know, riding at like 100%. I'm always like 75, 80%, just taking my time. I'm very controlled, you know, like there was another buddy of us who followed me a couple of months ago at Code, and he was like, man, I can see the way you're riding, that you're really thinking through everything you're doing. We can see that
It's
from behind.
very
You're-
deliberate the way
Yeah,
you
it's
ride.
like you can. I mean, it's easy to see that you're thinking about everything that you're doing. It's like, well, yeah. Come to think about it, yes, because that's something that I got from Keith Coates' book, right? If you're not able to like go back to the paddock and think exactly what you were doing out there, it's because you're riding way over your
you
head.
can't learn.
Exactly, you can't learn. So I got that to heart, and it's like, okay, I want to go back home and know exactly. Well, I went a little bit later on the brakes on that section. I got back on the throttle a little bit earlier. I want to be able to know that. So
That's interesting.
yeah, so I don't see myself like, oh, I'm gonna crash.
Jeez.
So the way what I've been doing is I do a lot of like mental laps, right? I close my eyes and I put myself in there and I try to feel like, okay, in this section, I'm like tucking in, I'm going on it, and then as I go into the braking zone, I'm moving my body off the bike, I'm standing up, I'm pulling on the brakes. I visualize those things, right, in a safe environment, so that when I'm actually doing the real thing, it feels natural. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I've done this before.
Yeah.
When you don't have to think about it, it just comes out of your body. You're in a flow.
Exactly. Right, because it's that thing, if you can like slow down what's going on in your mind, you can process it a lot better, right? And like in riding, it's, you know, the further down you look, the more time you have to process what's coming at you. That's how you like slow down what's going on. And for me, it's, you know, taking that forward and like doing practice. Like when I'm back home, I'm watching my videos on the big screen so that I can put myself there. Even though I'm just watching the video, I'm feeling in my body, like, you know, the forces, how I'm moving on the bike. It's almost like I'm there. So that's how I do like some practice back home. But when I do that, I've never visualized like, okay,
Crashing
what if I go off track here? It's like,
Yeah.
in my mind, it's like, why would I go off track here? It's like,
Now, the last couple of meetings I've been to, you've talked about something, and I wanted to bring this up. What if you had your gauges taped over? Would that have happened? Like, if you knew you couldn't see your gauges,
I don't
you
have a
couldn't
gear
see your
indicator
speed,
on my bike.
you couldn't see
Well,
any of that,
so-
would you
Yeah.
have looked down
so here's the
and
thing.
then came up?
So
in
here's
that
the thing.
direction?
When I looked down, I was not looking for the gauge.
Yeah.
I was gonna look down to see, okay, is there something like smoke coming out of the bike or
Yeah.
shit coming? That's what I was gonna look. It's like down at the bike, not on the gauge. But as I looked down, I was like, oh, like peripheral vision or whatever.
Oh,
I
he
saw
just
60,
happened
right?
to catch it.
Yeah, I thought it's like, oh, I see what the problem is. I didn't
Yeah.
go all the way down and then up.
Even if you
Yeah.
didn't have a gear indicator, I bet you still would have pumped the clutch.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
oh.
After, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
the-
you probably, in my mind, just watching you ride, like what your systematic thing, you didn't have. If you didn't have new data to input into your mind, you would have went to straight touch and feel, and you would have known I
Yeah.
have to downshift.
Yeah.
Versus what you saw, was your conscious mind said, "Shit, sixth gear need to go down." Fuck, I'm at 60 miles per hour. I looked up and I'm looking at the wrong tower. Versus it being if you had it all taped up, and that's why, because you were talking about that
Yeah,
with
yeah,
some
yeah.
of us when we first go out there.
Yes.
Hey, tape your shit up.
Yeah.
Because when you're coming, like especially at Coda, you say when you're coming down the back straight, Don't look at how fast you're going when you're coming down the back straight. Look up and see what marker you're at
Yes.
to slow the fuck to slow down. Don't worry about that when you're on a bigger track because you're gonna be focused on how fast am I going, how fast am I going, how fast am I going. So I was thinking, I was like, in my first time when I first saw it, when you said, hey, I looked down, I was like, well shit, what if it was all taped up? Like just in this instant, like what if it was taped up? Would that accident have happened? And that's why it's in hindsight. But
Yeah.
I'm just curious if, because of like what I'm learning so much right now. I'm like, man, maybe I'm probably gonna tape my shit up my first couple of times out there, so
Yeah.
I know I need to be in the field, not
Yes.
in my mind. I don't want to be in my head. I want
Yeah.
to make sure I'm not grabbing too hard on my like on the ground. I'm probably gonna tape it up now. If we go out the first time again, I'm taping it up.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be looking down thinking I want to be right.
How fast am I going? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Keep up the, I mean, I imagine what an important input for you in that moment was that bike didn't sound right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The
Yeah,
audio.
it's just, you go by, to me, like turning a lap around the track is a little bit like music. You know where the verse starts, where the bridge, the chorus. I went through the verse, I got to the bridge, and then I'm expecting to hear the chorus. I hear something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the feels like, okay, something doesn't sound right here because of my normal flow. When I'm
Yeah.
going through this section, this is what it
Yeah.
feels like. It didn't feel the right way.
All of a sudden it's smoothed out.
Yeah.
You're expecting a downshift where you have that engine braking and everything else, and all of a sudden you don't feel that. It's
Yeah.
like you're numb.
Yes.
I have no input and it sounds wrong. Something's different and it's a
And like
distraction.
you said,
Mhm.
in that moment, sometimes your brain just lights up. All the
Yeah.
warning lights in your brain.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I felt. It's like, okay, my brain froze at that moment. That's how
Yeah.
because I have made like little mistakes like that on the track, and I was able to fix it just fine.
Yeah.
The first couple of track days on this bike with the GP shift and all, I've
Yeah.
messed a couple of shifts here and there, and I was able to
Yeah.
still ride faster than I was riding my F4i, correct the thing, and keep on going.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not like I never make mistakes, and when I do make one,
Well, maybe
oh,
the difference
Yeah.
though is that you had mentally rehearsed and you were expecting to miss a shift. So that when it happened, you were like, oh, okay, that's what that is. But this, you didn't have any
Frame of reference.
Pre-rehearsed.
that's true. Yeah,
pre-rehearsed
that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Because I was like settled on that. Okay, I'm practicing the GP shift. If something happens, I know exactly. You're right.
Now,
That's true.
when you upshifted, if it would have been a downshift, would that have been the exact? That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
That would have been
Yeah.
That
perfect.
was
right? Okay,
exactly
that's
what
what
I
I
What he
did.
was expecting,
Expecting
to
was
happen.
to go whoa.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he went like he pulled in his clutch, and as if it was like a free roll, right?
Yeah.
Then that's what he was probably alarmed by. Like, why am I in a free
It's
roll?
different.
Versus it being, why am I not going whoa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense.
Yeah,
enough,
track lap is a series of cues that you receive consistently if you're doing a consistent lap. So,
Cool. Was that helpful, guys?
Oh, that was
yeah.
awesome.
So
Yeah,
let
that
me
was
ask this other
Sure.
question, because I get two different answers from different riders. How do you feel fear-wise after the crash?
good. Well, he hasn't got back on the bike yet.
Because I'm also one of those riders. I've crashed I've crashed like over 150 times in my life.
Mhm.
I've only had fear after one crash, and that was because an animal ran out in front of me, and it wasn't something I could predict at night. And it's always something that I'd go home and I'd get in the corners at night riding home. It's like that took a lot out of me. But I go to the racetrack, and if you give me another bike right away, I'd go right back out. And it just hasn't affected me in the same way. And I'm wondering, what do you take away from this? Does it sensitize you in any way?
So, right, I mean, as soon as I got with my wife at the track, one of the first things that she told me, or she asked me, was, you are not gonna stop doing this, right? So, and that was
Yeah.
like all the support that I needed, right?
Yeah.
Because if she's on it with me, she's supporting me. So, and she kept saying it, telling me that, just don't let that slow you down, because again, she knows the way I ride, the way that I value protective gear, the way that I'm not like nuts out there, riding. So at that point in my mind, it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel when I get on the bike and I go out on the track, but like my mindset right now is like, oh, I'm gonna just do my physiotherapy, properly. I want to get back stronger.
Yeah.
Right. I know exactly what happened. It's not like I have no recollection. So it's like I don't know. I don't want to go out there because I don't know what happened. I know what happened.
Yeah,
It's pretty
that's
clear.
the beauty of having the camera. You don't have those niggling questions in your brain.
Right.
What happened? Because when you don't know what happened, that's where the fear comes in and it causes
Right.
you to,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just going to back off. And
Yeah. So right now I'm feeling like I want to go there, as soon as I can actually do safely, so that I don't take the chance of like, yeah, in a month I'm going to go out there and then I end up.
Screw that. If I can get in my leathers at all without tremendous pain, codeine
Right.
just to get in.
So what I'll probably do is get on a mini out just to get the movement
Yeah.
going
Range of
slow,
motion.
range of motion,
Yeah.
see how I feel. And then, I need to finish the CMRA thing this year.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of like logistics for me that's going to be kind of hard because to do it in Houston in October, there is some work stuff
yeah.
happening that weekend for me.
Oh, yeah.
So it may be tough. I cannot like do the August races that they have in Crescent because it's too soon.
Yeah.
After that, I think it's Hallett, where I don't want to
Oh,
drive
wow.
all the way to Hallett to
That's a
race at a
long
track
drive.
that I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. It's
But
like
like-
NOLA again.
exactly.
It's a long way.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to do
Okay.
that. So if I cannot make it to the one in October, then I'm gonna have to just start
Yeah.
over next year. But at that
Well,
point,
you're not
it's like-
defending your championship.
that's the thing. What I wanted was the experience.
Mhm.
If I could get the licensing done, great. Otherwise, whatever, dude. I'm just trying to learn the experience, see what that entails, and keep having fun. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not in a hurry to go out there and be fast right off the bat. I just want to go back on the bike and continue having fun because that's why I ride at the track. I have a blast, right? So, all right, cool guys. So that's what I had for you. I've worked hard on putting this all together, make sure that I had everything out of my mind into something I can share with other people. Maybe hoping that would be helpful to others because it's like. Once you know, it seems trivial. It's like, that's stupid. Dude. Come on, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
Well, most of us,
From memory, yeah.
we don't know.
I couldn't figure it out from that rear-facing video. I really couldn't figure it out.
Right,
Turn it
so-
around and
And it happens when you don't know, when you're a beginner, there are these things.
yeah.
Right, so the whole, okay, what about the ambulance? What if you need to, get to an ER? How do you do that? How do you get your stuff packed at the track? All those things, if you're not thinking about that, well, maybe you should.
Yeah.
Because it can happen.
Well, I've seen
Right.
that too. Someone, why did you go down? The one that drives me nuts is, I had to lay the bike down. I'm like, that's always the wrong answer. You do not lay the bike down to stop faster. It always stops faster with the rubber side down. So you get those explanations. They've convinced themselves they've identified what the problem was. When you have video, you can post it and get insight from other people, things you missed because you're not aware of that. Claudio pointed out, what gear was I in? Oh, yeah, okay. Missing pieces there.
Right.
And you may have misdiagnosed what happened. And with new riders without the experience,
Well, I guess that's a good
they,
question.
they falsely identify something.
What before you, because you didn't see the video until at least an hour later, I would assume.
The
or
front-facing
longer,
one, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did you think before you saw any video footage? What happened?
Oh, I knew it.
Oh, you
Oh,
knew it
you
immediately.
knew.
I
then.
know
Okay,
it
you already knew
because,
it. Okay.
again,
Wow.
once I've realized, I upshifted instead of downshifted.
Mm.
I mean, before hitting the ground, I knew that's what happened,
Yeah.
right? At that point, I knew it.
Okay.
So, yeah, and like I said, I've been embarrassed by it. I've been giving me a hard time about it because it's like, it's such a rookie mistake. What the hell were you thinking, right? And I know that there's a lot of people that would not be out here like in public and having videos posted, sharing that kind of stuff. I don't
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
because it's like this might save somebody else's,
Have you met a
down the
single
road.
person who said that was a stupid mistake?
Well, I'm
It's
telling
a
you, it was
costly mistake.
It's a costly mistake.
mistake.
And I thought for days, okay, that was a stupid mistake. What did I? But of course,
Everybody-
hindsight is always 20/20. And
Everybody has mistakes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
Okay.
yeah, when I talk to other people like more experienced, they're like, oh dude, stop giving yourself such a hard time because we all make mistakes like that.
Yeah.
I noticed in your first crash video, you can see your hands go down. And then I noticed that you broke your clavicle, which means to me you put your hands down.
Well, I was thinking it was his helmet actually, but
Wait, on the
no.
first one, yeah, I remember on the first one, however the setup was, on the first one, I remember feeling like the bike, like low siding, like the front end tucking in, and as it
Yeah.
tuck in, I
yeah,
like, I don't know, that was like
it's human
reaction.
nature.
You
It's
just go, okay,
human
I'm gonna
nature.
fly now, I don't know what the heck.
Mhm.
And on that one, I mean, pretty much, I guess how you guys say, I just sprained my wrist on the right
Mhm.
hand. Didn't break anything. I mean, the next week I was at MSRA riding and getting bumped to level 3 and all that stuff. It hurt for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Right? Certain positions and everything, but not a big deal. On this one, I don't remember like doing anything specific with my hands or anything. I just remember,
Yeah.
like hitting the grass and just losing it. And
Sky ground.
yeah, I remember like maybe like little slow motion, like okay, I'm coming off the bike. I heard this, and the next thing I know, I hit the ground really hard, and I remember me just gasping like, oh, like okay, that hurt.
Mhm.
But what I was doing with my hands, with my,
Oh.
I have, it's like, I don't know.
I
I was thinking that, oh damn it, the bars hit the ground. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to start over. I was thinking that, but I was not thinking how my,
Yeah.
look, mine is weird.
well, but if you put your arms down, that is a way to break your clavicle because it's a small bone and you put a ton of force.
Yeah.
on it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's that. Well, thanks guys. Hope to see you next month out here. I'm gonna get somebody to like
We've
step
had
up again and do
Santiago on the
something.
entire time, and I want to say thank you, bro, for being out here with all of us,
Oh yeah.
providing
welcome.
feedback and interactive time with everybody here. We appreciate it big time, and I think moving forward, we're gonna start doing these live videos because we've gotten a lot of interaction doing this live video.
That's
today.
perfect.
So
Thanks for doing that.
I think it's just from results. I think I'm gonna do this every time when I come in. So
I really
think it's
appreciate
really
that.
cool.
There's
Cool
been
vibes.
people
Yeah,
asking me
cool
to do
vibes.
it, but I'm like, there's too much for me to handle to also
Yeah,
do a live
yeah.
stuff. So I record it, I edit, post it up later, but this interaction, this is.
Yeah, it's
so thanks
cool
for
because
doing
they're
that.
asking live questions while you're
Yeah.
talking, and I got to interact. But other than that, I think it's a great way to get people involved
Yeah.
in what we're doing, and then encourage them to come in. So I think
Absolutely.
that will start filling this up. So it's
Yeah.
really excited to see that.
And hope you make some safer riders out there.
Yeah,
Fewer
yeah.
mistakes.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
right. Yep. Thanks for doing that.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys. See you
Awesome.
next time.
Thanks, Claudio.
All right,
Thank
bye
you.
guys.